Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to be looking through the history of the Nosferatu movies, at least the main ones that are most prevalent to me. So we'll start with the original from 1922, Nosferatu, directed by Friedrich Murnau, a German director. And this is essentially this is Dracula. There's no way around it. The plot is Dracula. He was a German director and changed the characters in the story to have German names. That was to try and appeal more towards the German audience, and also to try and avoid comparison to the Dracula novel. They were unsuccessful in doing that, and they were actually sued by Bram Stoker's estate for copyright infringement, and they won. So we're actually rather lucky to have Nosferatu, because the courts ordered for copies of the film to be destroyed. Fortunately, some survived, and over the centuries the movie has circulated again and is now considered a horror classic. And this is definitely a must-watch, in my opinion. If you're interested in vintage cinema and silent cinema, not just horror but silent cinema in general, Nosferatu is definitely one that you should watch. It has so many iconic images in it, from the Count going upstairs with his fingers, to the shadow over the woman's chest, to Count Orlok realising that the sun's about to rise. Some really wonderful scenes in this, and it manages to be both creepy and beautiful at the same time. Very good mix in this film, and the age of it only adds to the creepiness. And for a film that's from 1922, it's still very watchable. It definitely has the rewatchability factor, which is impressive for a film that's so old. And if you're not creeped out by Max Schreck's gearish look in this film, then credit to you. I think he still looks very scary now, and I was always fascinated by his facial features as a kid. It really does turn your head to see how eerie and creepy he looks. So the original Nosferatu is definitely a must-watch, in my opinion. Okay, so that then takes us to the 1979 remake by Werner Herzog, and this may be somewhat of an unpopular opinion, but this is actually my favourite of the Nosferatu movies. I actually prefer the remake over the 1920s version. I really love the look and the feel that Werner Herzog created for this movie. His vision was fantastic, and I think they nailed everything that a remake should do. So the essence of the original story is still there. You can see that this is rooted in the 1922 telling of the original story, but they just add to it in a number of ways. So you have Klaus Kinski giving a wonderful performance, bizarre but wonderful. He really does a fantastic and convincing job as this kind of tortured vampire character. Isabella Janti is in this, and she's always captivating in whatever she does. And this one brings like a real kind of aristocratic artistry to it that I really appreciated. It's elegant, it's beautiful, but it's creepy and weird at the same time. But they really nailed these kind of conflicting themes that all sort of blend in but work together so well. It really is a beautiful, wonderful film. And as I say, for me, it just takes that original classic, sort of builds on it a little bit, but creates a very beautiful masterpiece at the end of it. So yeah, big fan of the remake, and one that I can highly recommend, especially if you do like your kind of artistic, sort of a little bit bizarre films. Yeah, you can definitely check this one out. Okay, so this takes us to 1988. So we have Nosferatu in Venice, which I'd actually never heard of until Severin released this. and I don't see this one getting much coverage, so I thought this one deserved a little bit of a mention in this video. So this one was directed by Augusto Simonito. I must confess, I don't think I know anything else that he's done, but to be fair, he did a really good job with this film. I thought it would be I don't know, a little bit of a kind of a throwaway kind of rip-off to the 1979 Nosferatu, but this one pretty much carries itself, and it's got some really good moments in this. I'd say it's a very decent, albeit inferior, but decent kind of supplement to the 1979 Nosferatu. It sort of carries on somewhat from that. It definitely keeps that kind of aristocratic feel, and still very bizarre. There's things in this that are almost like dreamlike. It doesn't always make a great deal of sense, but with this one I think you just got to go with it, enjoy the imagery, enjoy Klaus Kinski's out there performance, and I think you'll get something from this, particularly if, like I say, you like the artisticness of the 1979 version. Donald Pleasance is in this, but he doesn't really have that much to do. But Christopher Plummer plays a main role as like a Van Helsing type character, and he's absolutely wonderful in this film. He brings a lot of class and gives the film a lot of validity. So he did a great job in this movie. So yeah, overall, somewhat strange, but very kind of sort of beautiful, dreamlike film that somewhat extends on the 1979 version, but I'm not sure if it has any kind of official connection to it. Klaus Kinski's vampire in this does look somewhat different to the kind of the emaciated, bald-headed vampire in the 79 version. Here he's got like long hair and dresses differently, but yeah, there's still definitely a sort of a connection there in that respect, but cinematically, whether it has any connection, I actually don't know. But yeah, an enjoyable and peculiar film that I think definitely deserves a watch. And then that takes us to, I believe this was 2001 or 2000, with Shadow of the Vampire, which is a very, really interesting film. So this is a kind of a fictional movie based on the making of the original 1920s Nosferatu, but the plot of this is that Max Schreck, who plays the vampire, was actually a vampire. So Friedrich Murnau, the director, played by John Malkovich, he hires him and accommodates his vampire ways and has an actual vampire working on the film. It's such a fascinating premise, and it's done really well. Willem Dafoe plays Max Schreck, the vampire, who's a real vampire, and he's absolutely fantastic. His makeup is brilliant. He looks creepy, very, very convincing in that role. But I have to say, John Malkovich really does steal the show as the director, who is, I don't know, doesn't seem all there, to be honest. He's very, very eccentric, and to be able to steal the show over Willem Dafoe playing a vampire is no easy feat, but John Malkovich gives a very, very fascinating performance in this, and this one's definitely worth checking out. If you've seen particularly the original Nosferatu and you liked it, this is definitely an interesting accompaniment to that movie, and a great movie in itself. So that was just a quick rundown of the Nosferatu movies. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Please let me know which your favourite Nosferatu movie is. I'd be very interested to know. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.